Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself floating in calm waters in the late afternoon. The sky above shifts in gentle hues. In the distance is the outline of a city. Below the surface, currents swirl with quiet but continuous movement. You are safe, observing, held by the quiet power of transformation. In many ways, this is the story of Xiaomi, a soft but relentless undercurrent in the world of technology that would rise to become a force known throughout the globe. The shadow of Made in China. Let's drift back just a few decades. In the corners of living rooms, on office desks, and in the hands of people worldwide, the words Made in China were more often met with skepticism than respect. Items bearing this label were thought of as cheap, mass-produced, inauthentic, mere imitations of what real innovation looked like. Stereotypes are sharp, their scars linger. Yet, every era has its rebels and visionaries, those who see through the haze of public doubt, those who believe that a label is not a destiny, but a challenge. In the fog of dismissal, certain names began to stir. Meizu with its music players, Lenovo quietly building computers that would reach the farthest continents, and then Xiaomi, unknown, tiny, the stuff of whispers. For many, the association was automatic. China exports knockoffs, not world-changing technologies. Even when products were cheap, consumers hesitated. Why bother if it will break in a month, was the chorus. The brand stigma clung tight. The product's worth, it seemed, was less than the sum of its parts. But transformation comes in cycles, often quietly at first, until a new wave crests. As years turned, Xiaomi and a few courageous peers began to crack the code. What if affordability and quality weren't mutually exclusive? What if Made in China could mean something different, something great? The name, the logo, the philosophy, if you have ever noticed the warming glow in the simplicity of names, listen, Xiaomi literally means little rice grain, humble, endearing. There's a story here. In ancient China, the first drop of millet into a pot symbolized hope, a promise for a beginning. The founders could have chosen something grandiose or technical. Instead, they picked a name that whispered of care, of nourishment, of essentials. Yet, look closer and you find deeper intent. Xiao and Mi, separate, but together they evoke both small millet and, visually, the Chinese character Mi for rice. Some say their logo, a stylized Mi, is a flipped heart. Others believe the minimalism stands for their core tenet, putting their heart into the products, making each device with love. To name yourself after a grain of rice in a world obsessed with excess is to promise humility, to grow quietly but persistently, one customer at a time. Genesis, the birth of an unlikely giant. It was April 2010 in Beijing, a city known for both its ancient traditions and ceaseless digital buzz. In a small office, 8 individuals gathered: software architects, hardware engineers, industry veterans. Some had previously worked with global powerhouses like Qualcomm. Others brought local roots and dreams. They shared a common goal: to make innovation accessible. Xiaomi was born, not with fanfare, but with focus. Its initial investment came from sources private and public, including government backers willing to gamble on the vision of a small startup. Unlike established giants, they did not have legacy factories or sprawling retail empires. What they did have was hunger, grit, and the belief that China should, build great technology not just for its own people, but for the world. Just 16 months after founding, August 2011, they launched their first smartphone, the Xiaomi Mi 1. It sold out in minutes, not because there were millions, but because people were hungry. Performance without prohibitive pricing, design that delighted, gadgets that felt personal. The word spread swiftly. first through fan forums and tech blogs, then through families and across borders. And so, the seed was planted. Not just smartphones. It would be easy to imagine Xiaomi as another phone maker, lost in a sea crowded with competitors. But their ambitions crackled with more energy. Every year saw new products, not just phones, but chargers, earphones, portable power banks, smart home hubs, fitness bands, even smart shoes. Their ecosystem strategy emerged. Why should technology stop with the phone? What if it flowed through every object in your day? Televisions that talk to your air purifier, routers that learn from your habits, surveillance cameras that keep you safe. From the moment you wake to the hour you sleep, Xiaomi was there. The diversity became their signature. Tech critics called it the most complete ecosystem in the industry. Imagine a home softly lit. On the table, a sleek lamp adjusts its glow to your mood. From the speaker, gentle music rises. In your pocket, the phone hums as it syncs with your watch, your scale, the treadmill. Xiaomi's world is interwoven. Devices are not isolated, but companions. The art of good, affordable, and reliable. If you walk into the heart of Xiaomi's philosophy, you'll find 3 words: non, bol, rea. Good, nourishing, cheap. It's more than a marketing pitch, it's a pledge. Unlike established Western brands, whose luxury often came with high price tags, Xiaomi asked a radical question: why must excellence be expensive? Their answer was to build for the many, not the few. They dissected every process. For power banks, they sourced batteries from Panasonic and LG, engineering them to survive countless charging cycles. For laptops, they wove in the precision of Intel CPUs and Samsung memory, but kept the unboxing simple, the box plain. They spent less on velvet lining, more on what lay inside. And buyers noticed. The compact price, previously a red flag for poor quality, was now a reassurance. You could finally afford to buy with confidence. Early tech critics were surprised. How do they make money? They asked, suspicious. Lei Jun, Xiaomi's founder, would just smile. There's always a plan, hidden in the margins. E-commerce, selling direct, connecting deeper. Most tech titans built shining retail shrines in the world's great cities. There, shoppers could wander, marvel, talk to the uniformed staff, and, ideally, walk out clutching new gadgets. Xiaomi did none of this. From the first days, they embraced the internet, selling direct, cutting out middlemen, passing savings down. No expensive billboards, no celebrity partnerships, no red carpets. Instead, a grassroots approach. Fan forums, lively online communities, social media challenges. They asked, what would you change? And listened. Where Samsung reportedly spent more than $14 billion in annual marketing, Xiaomi's campaign was simple. Let the fans speak. Let online buzz drive curiosity. The result? Money saved in advertisements went to better components, to lower sticker prices. The millions not spent on sales staff turned into development dollars. The trust they built was intimate, a company talking with its users, not at them. The flash sale phenomenon. Close your eyes again and picture this. Anticipation buzzes online. The rumor mill whirls. Tomorrow, a new phone, but only 1,000 units. At 10 a.m., the website surges under the load of eager hands clicking buy now. In minutes, stock is gone. Headlines follow. Xiaomi sells out in seconds. The press picks up the story, spreading it like wildfire. This flash sale tactic wasn't just about moving inventory. It was about emotion, scarcity, excitement. You felt you were part of something rare, part of a tribe. And Xiaomi, clever as ever, didn't have to warehouse hundreds of thousands of unsold products. Make just enough, sell it all, and move on. Soon, people plotted carefully. Fans set alarms for launches, strategized with friends. Other companies took note, copying the model. It's like a ticket for a secret concert, one enthusiast said. The art of product longevity. On the stage of tech, features dazzle, specs change, but inside, chips, sensors, screens, these remain much the same. Lei Jun and his team realized, why reinvent every season? Instead, Xiaomi invested in buying parts in immense quantities, negotiating better deals, using the same core in successive generations. Consider the Redmi Note 2 and 3. Outwardly new, different boxes, subtle tweaks, yet the heart was the same. The MediaTek Helio X10 chip, the 5.5-inch display, the 13MP camera. Research and development costs lowered, waste trimmed, and the savings, always, were for the buyer. Such wisdom kept their pricing low, rare in an industry addicted to constant reinvention. Fan power at the core. Here's the magic. Most brands talk to their customers. Xiaomi instead talked with them, inviting passionate users into the fold early, letting them test unreleased products, offering developer versions of their MIU interface to tinker with and break. Those who gave the most feedback got perks, invitations to launch events, special codes for discounts, early access. This sense of belonging was intoxicating. Fans became advocates. Advocates morphed into evangelists. Across Asia and beyond, Mi fans formed clubs, hosted celebrations, debated features. In a world where cynicism towards corporations was growing, Xiaomi's open arms felt different. "We are not a brand, we are a community," their message ran. A fresh skin for Android. Ask someone what they love about their Xiaomi device, and the answer often comes: MIU. Unlike standard Android, plain, sometimes limiting, MIU was bright, customizable, fun. Themes shifted colors, icons danced, widgets lived and breathed on home screens. But MIU was more than skin deep. It bundled features users craved: robust photo galleries, music players, system cleaners, device security, all right out of the box. No need to hunt for third-party apps. No bloatware you couldn't uninstall. For privacy, the second space feature let users keep work and personal lives apart, switching seamlessly, 2 devices in 1. Update cycles were rapid, bugs were fixed fast. The community helped. What if you added this function? A fan would ask. 2 months later, it might appear. Lei Jun, the heartbeat behind the dream. No tale of Xiaomi is complete without pausing at the figure at its center, Lei Jun. Born in 1969, raised on the flows of the Yangtze, Lei was no ordinary entrepreneur. A computer science graduate, he devoured stories of Steve Jobs, not as gospel, but as inspiration to build something different, better, for more. He started at Kingsoft, rose to CEO, turned startups into global players, was hands-on with every project, famously a perfectionist, but also a relentless teacher. Before launching Xiaomi, he spent years gathering talent, the finest engineers, designers, logistics experts. For Lei, it was never just shipping units, it was building trust, proving that China could birth not just copycats, but creators. His philosophy was deceptively simple. Consuming better does not mean paying more. It means buying something better at the same price. While his peers were busy making things more expensive, he tilted the lens. Can we make things better while keeping them accessible? He led from the front, insisting on using every new device himself before launch, testing, breaking, suggesting, refining. When customers wrote in with complaints or hope, Lei replied. Where others saw fans as a market, he saw them as co-creators. He is often called China's Steve Jobs, but this undersells the strength and subtlety of his approach. Where Jobs could be brusque, Lei exuded patience. He made knowledge accessible, decoding hardware mysteries for his customers. His leadership asked for faith, but it gave back tangible value over and over again. The rise to global contender. By 2019, Xiaomi ranked as the world's third largest smartphone manufacturer. Over 70 million phones shipped that year alone, nearly 5% of global market share. Once, only the brave bought made-in-China tech. Now, from Moscow to Mexico, Mumbai to Madrid, Xiaomi was a brand people aspired to own. Their initial public offering in 2018 became the largest IPO in 4 years, sending a clear message to investors and skeptics alike. This was no passing storm. Xiaomi was here. Xiaomi was everywhere. Yet, with every ascent come clouds. Navigating the storms. Inevitably, envy and scrutiny followed. Rivals watched closely, sometimes imitated, sometimes attacked head-on. In 2016, Xiaomi briefly lost its top spot in China to Oppo, but quickly regrouped, innovated, rebounded. There were accusations too. Copycat design. Johnny Ive of Apple spoke publicly. Lawsuits over intellectual property. Ericsson Yoku Kyudo. Some critics whispered about privacy. As with many tech companies, Xiaomi faced allegations, never fully substantiated, about spying, data misuse. For every fan, there emerged a skeptic. Each crisis was a test. Some have faded with time, others return, as storms do. Through it all, Xiaomi responded the only way it knew, with transparency, repair, redoubled attention to community. The world watches and learns. For decades, China's products were defined by how much they could borrow from the West. Now, the flow is reversed. Brands worldwide study Xiaomi's playbook. Tech blogs dissect their e-commerce model, their supply chain efficiencies, their infusion of fan culture. Established brands redesign launch cycles, try flash sales, slash retail costs. Xiaomi, once snubbed as upstart, now sits at the table with the giants: Samsung, Apple, Huawei, the names on every continent. Where the world once asked, how can China catch up? It now asks, how can we keep up? Toward the everyday future. The ocean of technology grows ever deeper. By 2025, Xiaomi is more than a phone company, a technology lifestyle provider. Its IoT, Internet of Things, links everything from home grills to treadmills to air conditioners. Millions use their Mi Health app, their cloud services, their software tools. Their ecosystem is living, breathing, expanding. Partnerships grow with car makers, home builders, healthcare organizations. What started with a humble phone is now a platform touching virtually every element of modern living. Their promise remains: the best technology, priced within reach, built with care. One product, one fan, one dream at a time. A soft revolution. As dusk falls in our story, let yourself drift again. Remember that all great change begins quietly. Stereotypes may linger for years, but in the end, they are erased not by speeches, but by examples. From a world skeptical of made in China, Xiaomi has become not just proof of what's possible, but a catalyst for new possibility. A little grain, nourishing, essential, multiplied, can feed millions. Humility is not a weakness, but a strength. Listening is not a delay, but a strategy. Xiaomi's rhythm is gentle but ceaseless. Founded by visionaries, led by a dreamer who saw value not in higher cost, but in higher quality. Powered by fans whose loyalty was earned, not purchased. The lesson is clear. Innovation, done with heart, is never a question of where you start, but where and how you choose to go. Lean back. Let the story linger in the quiet space of the evening. The next great idea, like the first shoot of millet, may be rising now in Shenzhen, Bangalore, Sao Paulo, or somewhere new. All it needs, a little care, a little patience, a little belief. Let that be the enduring legacy of Xiaomi, the grain that grew into a global feast, shared softly but powerfully with the world. Thank you for joining us in today's deep dive into Xiaomi's remarkable journey from a small startup to a global innovator. We hope you found this story inspiring and insightful. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more exciting content on technology, business strategies, and global trends. Stay tuned for our upcoming episodes where we'll continue exploring the stories behind the world's most influential brands and ideas. Thanks again for listening, and see you in the next episode.